So what happens if a man doesn't masturbate for 30 days? 30 days without masturbation gives you stronger erections. Listen, it's not a myth. See, for many men, it's actually true, just not for the reasons that the internet tells you. I prescribe a 30-day sexual fast all the time clinically, especially for younger men struggling with erections, confidence, or performance. Because see, some things improve during a sexual fast, some things decline, and some things your body will override no matter how hard you try. So today, I'm breaking down what actually happens to your erections, to your testosterone, to your semen volume, to your prostate health and sexual performance when you stop masturbating for 30 days. This is through real physiology and functional medicine. So dial in. See, most young men who come to me don't necessarily have an erection problem. They have a stimulation problem. See, intense friction, frequent porn use, and habitual masturbation can dull nerve sensitivity and reduce arousal responsiveness. You literally numb yourself to the excitement and to the friction of it all, to the point where your erection and your brain are literally bored, so erectile dysfunction sets in. See, clinical neuroscience shows that repeated high-intensity stimulation can desensitize the reward and arousal pathways. When stimulation is removed, nerve sensitivity often rebounds within 5 to 14 days. So let's look at the science in order to understand why this is a power move. See, when a man frequently masturbates, especially when combined with high stimulation triggers like porn, fast forwarding to your favorite parts, the brain's reward and arousal centers adapt to that. Now, this is a well-established principle in clinical neuroscience known as neural desensitization. So let's get some simple brain chemistry under your belt so that you can understand. And when you understand the brain's reward system and how it relates to sexual arousal, it can change how you see the world entirely. And make sure you stay to the end, because I will give you a plan to use if you decide to give it a try so that you can come out of the 30 days stronger in every single way. So the primary neural or nerve pathway involved in the sexual response pathway is called the mesolimbic dopamine system. This includes key areas of the brain for the sexual reward system. So you have the ventral tegmental area, or the VTA. This is where the dopamine spark plug takes place, where desire begins. See, the VTA releases dopamine, which is that anticipation chemical that kicks off excitement, curiosity, and pursuit. So an everyday sex example would be, this fires when you see your partner getting out of the shower. So dopamine begins to trickle, right? Anticipation. So 30 days without masturbation, the VTA becomes more responsive because it's no longer being hit with constant dopamine bursts. This makes natural cues like touching, voice, presence feel exciting again. Next is the nucleus accumbens. Now this receives the dopamine reward signal. This is the signal reception, the pleasure meter, so to speak, where the brain decides if it likes the experience or not. So the role in this region receives dopamine and says, yes, I love it, do it again. It forms the reward connection between the action and the pleasure, connecting them. And when your partner moans or shows pleasure, this reward center also activates, reinforcing connection. But this is the same part of the brain that's triggered by porn, by sugary snacks, by social media. It's kind of a universal pleasure switch. And after 30 days without masturbation, you remove that artificial surge of dopamine. And this helps the area of the brain recalibrate, making natural intimacy feel rewarding again rather than being just like, numb to it. Next is the prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your sex life. See, the seat of control, motivation, and direction sits here. The role is that this area manages decisions, restraints, and goals, like deciding not to act on every single arousing thought. For example, the prefrontal cortex chooses to delay gratification to build anticipation. It decides to stop scrolling porn and instead invest energy in a real partner. And it's important in the process of setting sexual boundaries or goals, or even starting a 30-day sexual fast. That's your prefrontal cortex flexing in that space. And after 30 days without masturbation, the prefrontal cortex area gets stronger. A review titled The Neurobiology of Successful Abstinence, published in 2014, actually really details how abstaining from compulsive sexual behavior improves executive function, which is thinking, focus, and self-mastery. The next part is the amygdala and the hippocampus. These regions connect emotional intensity and memory to sexual experiences. So an everyday sex example would be, you remember how a certain cologne or lighting or voice made you feel safe or turned on, or you avoid certain situations because they trigger shame or embarrassment from the past. That's this area firing off. But when you take a break for 30 days, you allow the system to reset. Dopamine becomes more sensitive. Natural cues become more exciting. Focus and motivation improve. Emotional reward becomes stronger. All of this comes into play 30 days without masturbation. Many men also report increased confidence, increased purpose, and appreciation for partnered intimacy, which is huge. So we've explored the brain chemistry behind no masturbation for 30 days. Next, let's discuss sexual performance. Now, if you're gaining insight into sexual health, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on this all-natural approach to optimize sexual performance. And for a limited time, as a free gift to you, download my book, Sexpert Secrets Playbook, Become a Sex Champ Overnight. Free for a limited time for my YouTube community. Download it now while supplies last. All right? Now, men frequently report lasting longer, feeling more present, and experiencing greater connection after 30 days without masturbation. Reduced overstimulation improves sensitivity and stamina, shifting sex from compulsive release towards intentional intimacy. This aligns with both modern sexual medicine and ancient teachings. After 30 days without masturbation, men report fuller, stronger erections because pelvic nerves recover, pelvic floor fatigue decreases, and dopamine signaling normalizes. Ancient Taoist and Hindu traditions recognized this long before modern neuroscience did. Temporary sexual restraint restores responsiveness and desire. Okay, let's get into the science. See, after 30 days, you literally have a nervous system recovery or resensitizing of the arousal circuits in the pelvis. After all of that friction, you see desensitized pelvic nerves. See, high frequency masturbation and high stimulation, especially combined with porn or really strong grip strength, or rushing to climax, can lead to a form of neural desensitization. And so these sensory nerves, especially from the pudendal and perineal branches, actually get used to that hyper-intense stimulation. Just like with repeated noise exposure, that kind of dulls your hearing. And the same thing happens with repeated sexual stimulation, dulls that tactile responsiveness. And this leads to reduced pleasure, delayed arousal, and really difficulty maintaining stiffness. And after 30 days without doing it, reduced activity gives these nerves time to decompress, time to resensitize, and time to regain its normal firing threshold. Next, the pelvic floor muscles contract every time there's direct arousal and ejaculation. Each time a man ejaculates, the bulbar spongiosus and the ischiocavernosum muscles, which are part of the pelvic floor, they contract rhythmically to propel semen. See, these muscles also maintain rigidity during arousal and during contractions where you're bearing down. Just like doing too many reps in the gym without rest causes fatigue, overuse leads to pelvic tightness, pelvic tension, and poor recovery. See, studies in the Journal of Sexual Medicine note that men with erectile issues often exhibit hypertonic or tight pelvic floors, which can impair both erection strength and the orgasmic control. Now, this chronic tension actually reduces blood flow as well. See, constantly engaged pelvic floor through masturbation creates chronic muscle pressure, which reduces blood flow through key arteries like the internal pudendal artery. This limits oxygen delivery, it slows nitric oxide signaling, it impairs erection quality, and it delays the onset of arousal. A 30-day break allows the muscles to fully relax and regain functional tone, similar to how athletes cycle rest days with strength days to regain strength and elasticity. Now, let's talk about testosterone. The truth is that there are some benefits to 30 days without masturbation, but a testosterone spike is not one of them. Testosterone does not rise continuously during abstinence. Research shows that you have a small spike of testosterone around the 7th day, followed by a return to baseline. And long stints of abstinence can actually increase the stress hormone cortisol, especially if frustration or stress is present, which can then suppress or lower testosterone levels. And from a functional medicine perspective, hormones prefer rhythm, not stagnation. So let's talk about semen volume and prostate health. See, semen volume increases during the first 3 to 5 days of abstinence, so you get more of it. Then it plateaus, and many men experience a sensation of fullness or pressure during this 30-day period, which heightens the arousal and anticipation of waiting those 30 days out. It's kind of like it's knocking on the door. This anticipation helps restore dopamine, which is so important, as you see, but it's also a very key hormone required for erection initiation. You need dopamine in order to even get an erection. So prolonged abstinence, however, just going for extreme periods, may lead to pelvic congestion and discomfort and low testosterone in some men. So let's discuss how after 30 days without masturbation impacts fertility, right? So sperm quality actually peaks with 2 to 4 days of abstinence. However, after about 5 to 7 days, that sperm motility or the sperm's ability to swim actually decreases and DNA damage increases. So men trying to get their partner pregnant should avoid prolonged periods of abstinence. It doesn't help with fertility. Now, so just to summarize, what improves after this 30 days masturbation free? Nerve sensitivity, erection quality, pelvic control, sexual presence, self-discipline, dopamine balance. Let's talk about what declines though. Sperm quality, pelvic comfort in some men, mood if stress is unmanaged, and what does not change? Penis size. It'll be the same when you finish. And long-term testosterone just returns to baseline. So if you want to amplify the benefits of your 30 days without masturbation, do this daily during it. 1, deep diaphragmatic breathing to reduce pelvic floor tension. Pelvic floor stretching. Do this with the happy baby pose or the deep squats. Mindful arousal retraining, which is non-goal directed touch, just like a visual detox. Next, add in there sunlight and nasal breathing to support that nitric oxide production. And if you want to reset your erections, your confidence, and performance the right way, for a limited time as a free gift to you, download my Sexpert Secrets Playbook, become a sex champ overnight, even if the last time sucked, for free and limited time for my YouTube community only. See, abstinence is a reset, not a destination. Short-term sexual fasting can restore sensitivity and performance, but long-term stagnation without rhythm can disrupt your hormones and fertility. The goal is intentional, rhythmic sexuality. But here's the part most overlooked. Even if you dial in your arousal, your hormones, and your sensitivity, your sleep position can actually shut down pelvic blood flow for 6 to 8 hours straight. And if your erections are inconsistent, this may be one of the biggest hidden reasons. So watch this next video. It breaks down the best and worst positions and the one mistake almost every man makes at night. I'm Dr. Rachel. I love you, and boom!